Cause all my life I've been a trail nigga.
Alright, welcome back to Last of the Trail. I'm your humble host, Ego Moo. So, let's hop right into it. I'm going to go into a video about a subject matter that I was clarifying to the general public, because I am aware that the general public is generally confused due to the miseducation that they received. You have been miseducated and you have been ill-informed about how to identify, not only how to identify, but how to use English in its proper context, because you don't study the words. You know, we are living in a society where everyone is pretty much speaking slang. Like, yeah, you are using English words, but you're using them out of context because you don't know what they mean. Okay? and why don't you know what they mean is because a lot of you don't know etymology. Let's get into the video, because I really want y'all to see this video. I want y'all to hear it, and then I'm going to give you my commentary and my response.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, ridiculous. Okay, so I recently came across a gold mine, which I don't know if it's funny or terrifying or both, but I infiltrated a little Facebook group spamming and screaming, trans women are women. Just flat out, period, take it for what it is, blah, blah, blah. I want to talk about that sentiment. Brenda Demigirl says, anyone who says that trans women aren't women, I curse with the cramps and diarrhea I'm having today. Hashtag girls like us. Hashtag PMS. Hashtag trans women are women. Hashtag trans women PMS. Hashtag trans is beautiful. And I replied, trans women do not PMS. Your diarrhea seems to be due to the fact that you're full of shit. Because what? Now listen, I'm a trans woman, obviously. I grew up wanting to be a woman when I was younger, but I've never had to try to validate myself or like convince myself that I can PMS and can get my period. That's just impossible. We don't have ovaries, we don't have a uterus, like, what? We're onto the Facebook group. The first post is, yes, transgender women get PMS every month. Tracy says, not all, but some do. You're halfway to the truth. The truth is just we don't, but okay. Samantha says, I do, and it's the worst because I live in a house with 3 other women and we all sync up. How do you convince yourself that you not only, as a biological male, which is what we are, PMS, and also sync up with your wife and your kids and whoever else? Like, what are you doing? What's her name? What are you doing, Samantha? Samantha? Okay. The next one from Amber says, I did my first year and it was hell. My ex-wife thought it was funny. Now, I don't want this video to just come off as mean-spirited. There is a larger point to this, and I promise I'm gonna get to it, but I cannot with these comments. Your ex-wife did not think it was funny that you were getting PMS. Your ex-wife probably thought it was funny that you thought you could get PMS. Chances are, if you transition once you already have a wife, you're on the older side, and it's been proven that HRT, hormone replacement therapy, doesn't even really have much of an effect when you take it when you're old. So, and even if it did, even the person who takes it at the youngest age, let's just say, I don't agree with it, but let's just say you took it at 13, and that's when you started, okay? You're never gonna get a period. Why do they think this? Every day I drift farther and farther from relating to the trans community in any way, and collectively, we drift farther and farther away from God. Emily says, sure do. All the cis women in my life think it's hilarious and laugh every time. Another one who's surrounded by people laughing at their period. But I don't think that, what's her name? Emily has the self-awareness to know that your family's probably laughing at you because you've convinced yourself you're getting your period. Ashley says, I'm dealing with it right now. My wife and I synced. First of all, you spelled synced wrong. And second of all, is this a fetish? Because these people are like older and they keep mentioning their wives and syncing and being laughed at, like humiliated. Like, is this a thing? Are these trans people or are these fetishists? I don't know. Tasha said, how do you expect people to take you seriously when you say like this? Thank you, Tasha. Oh my God. Finding a pebble of rationality in this sea of insanity was very refreshing for me, Tasha. I love you. Erica says, or every other day. Okay, that's how you know that she doesn't even know what a period is to claim it's every other day. Like, I know almost nothing about periods, to be honest, because I've never had one. But even I know that women don't get their periods every other day. That sounds like probably a hellish experience. Erica, stop. Okay, that's none of them can get their periods, and I'm sorry. I had to burst their bubbles. I could not help myself because I was so bewildered by the comments. To which the comment was deleted by the moderator. And then Sarah says, thinking I'm a cis woman in the group, says, cis women telling trans women what they feel is invalid. They need to shut the up. We may not have a uterus, but many, and then a whole long comment dragging on that I'm not even going to include because it was just babbling. They thought I was a cis woman simply because I said that we don't get our periods as trans women. That's sad. But honestly, this whole thing really had me thinking about this whole sentiment of trans women are women. I'm sure you've seen it on article headlines. I'm sure you've seen it splattered all over by allies and trans people all over social media. And I really want to talk about that because I feel like trans women are trans women. And just hear me out. Like, we're just going to go on a little roller coaster of thought process here, okay? Like, don't get me wrong. In my real life, I'm not going around walking and telling people that I'm trans. I'm not making it a thing. It's honestly the smallest part of my real life. Believe it or not, I know online it's a big part because obviously my channel and we talk about it a lot, but in real life, it's literally a non-factor. So for all intents and purposes, walking through the world perceives me as a regular woman, and I'm not going to correct people if they don't know that I'm trans, obviously. But in terms of online discourse, which is very different, and in terms of arguing the technicalities and when we're saying things by definition, and honestly, I feel like as a trans woman, I'm a trans woman. I have a completely different set of experiences than biological women. One being, I don't have a menstrual cycle, obviously. You know, when I want to start a family, when I want to have kids, I've talked about it before, I'm gonna have to go through a completely different process to do that because I'm not the same as a biological woman. And I don't feel invalidated by saying that. I've never had to delude myself into thinking that I am the exact same thing as a biological woman to make myself feel okay. I'm happy being a trans woman. I'm okay with that. I feel like I was born to be who I am now, and I don't have any issue with that. I see a lot of biological women on the internet sort of angry at the whole trans women are women mantra.
I'm a natural born motherfucking woman. I'm a woman, baby. You're a trans woman, okay? Cool, do you? But baby, I'm a fucking woman. You ain't gotta put no cis in front of me. I'm not cis nothing. I'm a woman. Point blank, period. I am a woman.
Rose McGowan famously attacked Caitlyn Jenner, saying that she doesn't know what it's like to be a woman just because she transitioned at the old age that she did. And honestly, I can tell where the frustration lies. I feel like there is a certain set of experiences that women have that trans women do not have, and biological women don't want to feel like that's being erased or conflated necessarily. You know, I don't have the experience of growing up as an adolescent female. I don't have the experience of living a childhood as a girl. And I feel like those are very formative years that really shape who you are. And I think biological women see that. And honestly, while I don't agree with biological women attacking trans women and trying to make them feel like about them being trans, I do feel like there is a worthy conversation of saying that there are different experiences and we're allowed to talk about that. It's not bad to acknowledge that there's just differences. And honestly, there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And honestly, aside from that, what I think is a bit dangerous is when we blur the lines between science and medicine and medical care. Recently, the Canadian Cancer Society put up a website for transgender women and cervical cancer screening. Except there isn't a trans woman alive that has a cervix, so they can't get cervical cancer. And I think this is what starts to frustrate people. It frustrates me as a trans woman, honestly. And while it is the world's biggest compliment when I go to the doctor's office and they ask me if I'm pregnant or soon to be expected being pregnant, that is a world where it's important to you. If you go to the doctor, you have to tell them that you're a trans woman. You're not just a biological woman, because there's different anatomy, there's different disease risks, there's different cancer risks, there's different everything. And we have to pay attention to that. But that's just how I feel, you guys. Honestly, I don't endorse like biological women going around and bullying trans women, letting them know you're not a woman. But I also don't like this idea that there's absolutely no nuance between a biological woman and a trans woman, because that's just...
Let's hop into this video. Welcome back to Last of Trail. I'm your humble host, Ego Moon, and we are going to go over this video. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a debunked. This is a clarification video. I would say more or less. Now, this individual in front of us, she has a pretty heavy following, and you're probably gonna be like, well, why are you calling her a she? You know what I'm saying? Like, this individual identified as a transsexual. La la la. Why are we identifying this transsexual as a she? Because she, he. Okay, so when you're saying she, you're saying she, he, or he, she. All right, they're one and the same. They're synonymous. Get over it. Just use correct pronouns, bro. And then these damn he, she's won't be going off on us. It's ma'am. It's ma'am, sir. It's ma'am. Take it outside. It's ma'am. Hey, you want to be called woman? You want to be called she? That's technically the correct pronouns. These words were designed with you in mind, clearly. And I think technically it suits you. In your, I could get really colorful, but I'm not going to get too colorful or graphic about how I personally feel about you all's decision to transition into these creatures. Some of you are literally creatures. However, this one in particular is not so creature-like, or it's not like these damn drag queens at your children's at the book readings or anything like that. These aren't these types. Gotta be aware, and you have to be like you just have to have your antennas up on that. I'm not gonna sit here and have a whole transgender hunt. Let's start burning the pickets down. I'm not gonna do that until y'all collectively ready. I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? And even when y'all collectively with it, we're gonna have to have a little bit more of a discussion, and as far as what can we do or what should we do with those who are confused and vulnerable and under MK Ultra, to have done such perverse things to themselves. And those who seek forgiveness, I think we ought to we ought to be mindful of what we ourselves had to go through to come to where we are. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, these beings who have done this, it's a grand offense, man. It's the greatest offense. We have this level of empathy that is ridiculous. I think it's probably our most biggest downfall is God forgives. The gods, we forgive you. We are merciful gods. We are not this benevolent. The energy is not bad or evil or good or any of that, right? The energy is energy, and you can utilize the energy for good or bad. That is the duality inside your own tree. It's either your tree of death or your tree of life. Which one? Which one do you want? Do you want the powers of the light side, or do you want the powers of the dark side? You gotta choose. And to be able to choose, you have to first know what the fuck is being offered to you. If you know what's being offered to you, all you gotta do is be able to comprehend the words, comprehend what is being offered. If someone tells you the dark side, that's wicked, that's attached to sinister and wicked, blah blah blah. If that's what you want, that's the path you'll take. If you want the path of light, you'll take that. She says she's trans, and that should just be a parrot. It's not. and she knows she passes a lot, and that's I'm like, yeah, okay. Even in the group she so-called infiltrated, and then they're calling her a cis woman. I have no idea what that is. So if any LGBTQ or STUPs are in the building, please comment below. What the hell is a cis woman or cis man? What is that term cis? It seems derogatory. And maybe, just maybe, that is some of the things that are creating this rift between you and the so-called real women, even though that's a misnomer. That's 100% incorrect. They do not fit the description of woman, so they should be informed of that immediately, and and we need to re-educate them and give them their correct identity, and give them clarifications on them being God, especially all those who bring in life. Like, you're the creator of life. It's crazy to me how we've allowed the confusion between you and God, where we've decided to shame God, silence God. The so-called woman can't talk in the temples, and she can't teach. She has to obey and serve, and she has switch places, like Colinago likes to say, changes places. Yeah, the so-called God and man change places. God and man changed places when God allowed man to label God man, woman at that. Oh, whoa. And woman is a compound word. Wife, man. And you know what a wife is? A wife is a passive homosexual partner. Now, you could look at the etymology and you'll get that. And I'm quoting here. I'm not just going off about how I'm feeling. I'm quoting here. Take a look. When the so-called women feel this rift, they feel this disconnection clearly and obviously, right? And especially because the women who they feel that they're fighting for, they're putting their heart and soul into fighting your arguments. They're putting their fight, they're putting their bodies, their livelihoods, they're literally identifying as you incorrectly, and you're mocking them and laughing at them and calling them cis women and shit like that. All y'all claim, oh, I just wanted to be a woman. All look here, you wanted to imitate God. That's what you wanted to do, okay? But those who came before you enslaved God by confusing God and conditioning God and putting God under MK Ultra, and they have done this to God in order so that they can keep these child pedophilia death cults going on, where they suck the lives out of children. And you think it's bullshit. I'm telling you, you think it's bullshit. Where they say satanic panic, you should be panicking, but no, you've allowed the TV, you've allowed the internet, which is the United States Defense Department is the ones behind the internet, which is internetwork, short for internetwork. So we must be very mindful what comes out of the internetwork of the Defense Department. That is also a extension of COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program. Now, you think COINTELPRO stopped with the Black Panthers. Why? Because you're ill-informed. Why? Because you're delusional. Why? Because you're sleepwalking. Why? Just like TJ asked, why? I really need that clip. Why? Because Satan wants this reality. He wants it. He wants to destroy God's creation. He wants to mock God. And we are God. And until we stop the Satans, we will fall even lower than where we have fell. We have fallen. We must get back up. And I am here to grip you with my lion's paw and raise you up from the depth.